So what I have is a string. It's a strong and smooth string. Cotton works well. You can sometimes use your thrums if they're long enough. And the length you want is long enough to go from the bottom heddle bar, which is the bar that the heddles are attached to at the bottom, to the top heddle bar, plus 6 or 8 inches or so, because you're going to be tying knots, and if the ends are too short, it gets fiddly and awkward. So you would normally have threads here from your warp. You'd use a string like this when you discovered that you had a threading mistake and have determined that there is no heddle in the right place on the right shaft for the thread to go through. So it may be, I'm going to show on shaft 4, but it may be anywhere in here. So you kind of push the threads out of the way and the heddles to the side until you open up the space where the heddle wants to be. And then you take the fold, that's halfway along, it's folded in half. Take the fold, poke it around the bottom heddle bar, and then put the 2 loose ends through it. That anchors the bottom of the string heddle onto the bar. Then pull over a heddle on the same shaft up close to the string, because what you're going to do is tie an overhand knot. So I'm taking both halves of this string, tying an overhand knot, just a granny knot, and I'm leaving it loose as I adjust it so that it lines up with the bottom of the heddle eye. On the same shaft. That's pretty good. You want this to be close. Now the bottom is not quite as critical as the top, but still you want it to be close. So if you tie it and you discover that the knot is really low, you can leave the knot there and just tie a new knot above it. So now if you have the threads already strung up here, you can save yourself a step later and split these apart and put one up on one side of the thread and one on the other side of the thread, and you've already threaded your heddle. Now I'm going to tie the same overhand knot, and I'm going to line it up with the top of the heddle eye, and this is the one that's really critical because it's the top of the heddle eye that creates the bottom of the shed. And you don't want any threads that are sticking up higher than their neighbors on the bottom of the shed. So that's pretty good, if I do say so myself. So then I have these nice long strings, and I'm going to make the same knot around the top of the bar that you make when you're tying on to the front rod, say, the front apron rod. I'm going to pull one, I've tucked them both from front to back over the top. I'm going to pull one out to the left side, one out to the right side, and tie a knot across here, and I would tie a square knot here. And then you can cut all this excess off to 1/2 inch or so. You don't want to cut it right up to the knot because they might untie while you're weaving, but any longer than about that could get hooked up in the heddles while the shafts are moving up and down. So there's a string heddle.
That's a little different than the way I do it.